Hello, my name is Connor Olson, and this is my class assessment observation for educational psychology at Arizona State University. Okay, to start off, the teacher I decided to observe for this assignment is Professor Sherry Sisler while she teaches her American Southwest Literature and Film class. Upon observing the class, I noticed some learning assessments that she utilizes with her students. To start off, she has the information on the board for her students to go back on and gather information while they read from the book. Before reading, she summarizes what they are learning or what they were reading from the end of the previous class, so that way their minds are refreshed for the current reading. Throughout her lecture, she asks constant questions to the other students and waits for them to answer. However, if they don't answer, she waits for approximately 5 to 10 seconds, and if nobody answers, she rephrases her wording of the question in order to make it have more sense. All of the students are being assessed equally because the professor is looking around the classroom for anybody who is intrigued to answer the question. She constantly stops her reading and makes sure each student understands what is being told in the book. She breaks down the information and makes it easier to understand. The single most common assessment strategy that I see in this class is progress monitoring. According to Saland, progress monitoring systems are characterized by educators conducting frequent assessments to monitor student learning as well as effectiveness of their instructional practices. Also, real-time assessments, which uses real-time assessments to monitor and understand student learning during instruction, is being used as well. She asks multiple questions to her students, and if a student answers a question wrongly, she doesn't say that it was wrong. She goes into more depth with her question, hoping the students ask more in-depth answers, or gives more in-depth answers. After watching her teach her class, I agree with Professor Sisler's assessment strategies. Professor Sisler is constantly monitoring her students and assessing them throughout her lecture. This is what I plan to do in my future educational classroom. She has students post weekly discussions so that way they can find out she can find out students' needs and readiness before instruction. This strategy is smart in the fact that she can read those discussions and base her lectures off those replies. This class observation began at 4:30 p.m. on Thursday, April 14th, and ended at 4:55 p.m., lasting a total of 25 minutes. Okay, so some of the questions that I asked Professor Sisler after her observation concluded were, do you give end-of-the-year tests or projects? She replied we have both a midterm and final exams. The final covers only works read and viewed following the midterm. Both exams include quotes, artwork, and video still identification along with an in-class essay. Both exams require knowledge of concepts discussed over the semester, i.e. a concept discussed pre-midterm is relative to post-midterm. According to Hall in the textbook, summative assessments look back at what is being achieved perhaps over a term, year, or key stage. I took this question and I found that Professor Sisler uses summative assessments in her classroom due to the fact that she uses exams from the midterm and a final exam. The next question I asked her was, do students work in groups and discuss their work together? She responded in students post to weekly discussions forums with a minimum of 3 posts. The first post is a minimum of 500 words. The second 2 contain extended dialogue responses and questions, 14 forums in total. And the last question I asked her was, how do you assess your students? She said that she uses reading homework as weekly, then we have a lecture, literary discussions, or view a film within a post discussion. I take this as she not only uses summative assessment, but also formative assessment throughout her class. She uses reading homework weekly on a weekly basis. She has their students post at least 3 different discussions, so that way they each know what's going on in the classroom and how they can improve. And the most important thing that I found from this observation was that students work together in this class. They have 3 different observations which they have to reply to. They have to work in groups. They have in-class essays that they can work with together. So it's a very peer-to-peer kind of classroom setting. I thank you for your time, and you have a great rest of your day.